The Grand Plaza Hotel's ballrooms sparkled with expensive decorations and even more expensive guests. My parents' 30th anniversary celebration was exactly what you'd expect from the owners of Anderson Industries, extravagant, showy, and designed to impress. I adjusted my simple black dress, a stark contrast to the flashy designer wear around me. My brother Michael's voice carried across the room as he regaled some investors with tales of his latest corporate conquest. Same old Michael, always performing, always the star. Sofia. My mother's voice cut through my thoughts. Darling, you finally made it. Her air kiss barely grazed my cheek, careful not to smudge her perfect makeup. Though you could have worn something more appropriate for the occasion. I bit back a retort. My dress cost more than her entire outfit, but she'd never know that. I preferred to let people underestimate me. It made things more interesting later. Happy anniversary, Mom, I said, handing her a small, elegantly wrapped package. She weighed it in her hand, disappointment already clouding her features. Oh, how thoughtful. The package probably felt too light compared to Michael's gift, a pair of first-class tickets for their world cruise. My father appeared beside her, champagne in hand. Sofia. Still running that little shop of yours? It wasn't a shop. It was a tech company specializing in AI-driven security systems. But they'd never bothered to understand what I actually did. The business is doing well, Dad, I replied carefully. Michael sauntered over, his new Rolex catching the light. Oh, come on, sis. Doing well is what people say when they're barely surviving. How many employees do you have now? 6. I had over 3,000 employees across 12 countries, but I just smiled. Enough to get the work done. See. Michael turned to our parents. While I'm out here making real moves, closing billion-dollar deals, Sofia's playing entrepreneur with her cute little startup. Mom patted my arm sympathetically. Honey, you know there's always a place for you at Anderson Industries. Your father and Michael could use someone to manage the smaller accounts. I'm good, Mom, I cut in. Really? Speaking of good, Michael smirked, pulling out his phone. Have you seen the news? Anderson Industries just acquired Thompson Tech. Dad let me handle the whole deal myself. Our parents beamed with pride. Thompson Tech was a mid-sized security systems company, and one of my main competitors. Impressive, I said, taking a sip of champagne. $200 million deal, Michael boasted. But I guess that's hard to comprehend when you're still counting profits in thousands. If he only knew that I'd been watching the Thompson Tech deal very carefully. In fact, I'd been watching all of Anderson Industries' moves for the past year. Tell them about the expansion plans, Dad urged Michael. Well, Michael puffed up, now that we have Thompson's security contracts, we're planning to launch a new AI division. Corner the market before any of these small-time operators. He glanced pointedly at me, tried to compete. I checked my watch. Any minute now. Still wearing that old thing? Mom noticed. Michael, didn't you just buy 3 new Pateks? Actually, he corrected. When you're handling billion-dollar deals, you need to look the part. Speaking of which, Sofia, that dress. Is it from last season? Something like that, I murmured, feeling my phone vibrate in my clutch. You know, Michael continued, if you're struggling so much with your little business, I could throw some small contracts your way. Out of family loyalty, of course. The room suddenly felt very warm. I knew what was coming. That's very generous, I said, but dash. My phone rang. The caller ID showed Marcus Wong, CFO. Excuse me, I said, I need to take this. Really, Sofia? Mom sighed. At our anniversary party? Must be trouble in the little shop, Michael snickered. I answered the phone, putting it on speaker. It was time. Ms. Anderson, Marcus's voice rang clear. I'm pleased to inform you that the merger is complete. The paperwork just went through. You now own 60% of Anderson Industries. The champagne glass slipped from my mother's hand, shattering on the marble floor. The sound of shattering glass seemed to echo through the ballroom. Several guests turned to look, but I kept my eyes fixed on my family's faces. Michael's smug smile had frozen, twisting into something between confusion and horror. What did you just say? Dad's voice was barely a whisper. I held up one finger, still focused on my call. Thank you, Marcus. Is everything in place for the board meeting tomorrow? Yes, ma'am. The board members have been notified of the emergency session at 9 a.m. We've also prepared the press release as requested. Excellent. Please proceed with the announcement. As I ended the call, phones throughout the ballroom started buzzing. The news was breaking. I watched as Michael frantically pulled out his phone, his face growing paler by the second. This is impossible, he stammered, scrolling through the headlines. We would have known if someone was buying shares. Would you? I asked quietly. Like you knew about Thompson Tech's real value before you overpaid for it. Dad grabbed Michael's phone, his hands shaking. Silent acquisition. Shell companies. Private equity firms. This says the shares were accumulated over 18 months. 19 actually, I corrected. It's amazing what people don't notice when they're too busy underestimating you. Mom had sunk into a nearby chair, her perfectly maintained composure crumbling. But, your small business. Nova Technologies, I said, finally speaking its name in their presence. Currently valued at $8.2 billion. And yes, it was small, 3 years ago. Now we're the leading AI security systems provider in Asia and Europe. That's not possible, Michael interrupted. I would have known. I handle all the major tech acquisitions for Anderson Industries? I finished for him. The company that just spent $200 million acquiring Thompson Tech, not realizing it was already obsolete. Their security systems are 3 generations behind ours. The color drained from Michael's face as understanding dawned. You let me buy Thompson Tech. You knew that it was worthless? Yes. That's what happens when you don't do proper due diligence, brother. Too busy buying watches to notice that Thompson's major clients had already signed contracts with Nova. Through various subsidiaries, of course. Dad stepped forward, his business instincts finally kicking in. Sofia, let's discuss this reasonably. We're family. Now we want to talk family? I laughed softly. Was it family when you told me I was wasting my time with coding? When you said women in tech were just a publicity trend? Several guests were openly staring now, phones in hand, as the news spread through the room. I could hear whispers, see fingers pointing. You can't just take over Anderson Industries, Michael protested. The board won't stand for it. I pulled out my tablet, opening my emails. You mean these board members? I turned the screen toward them, showing a series of emails from board members pledging their support for the new leadership. Turns out, I continued, when you show them projections of how integrating Nova's AI systems could triple their share value, they're quite receptive to change. Especially after watching the company stagnate under current management. Mom finally found her voice. All this time, those small contracts you took were just ways to study Anderson's weaknesses, I nodded. Every time you bragged about a new acquisition or expansion, you were actually giving me valuable intelligence. It's amazing what people reveal when they think they're talking to someone beneath them. Just then, the large screens around the ballroom, meant to show a tribute to my parents' marriage, flickered to life with breaking news. My face appeared alongside headlines announcing the acquisition. The screens showed my professional headshot next to Anderson Industries' logo with the headline, Tech giant Nova Technologies acquires Anderson Industries in surprise $6.8 billion deal, Sofia Anderson named new CEO. Michael staggered backward, loosening his designer tie. $6.8 billion? But where did you get that kind of money? Remember when you mocked my little cryptocurrency investment 5 years ago? I asked, watching realization dawn on his face. The one you said was just another tech bubble? I turned that into seed money for Nova. The rest. I shrugged. Let's just say I understood the future of AI security when you were still focused on traditional systems. A group of board members approached us, led by James Morrison, the longest-serving director. Ms. Anderson, Morrison nodded respectfully to me, completely ignoring my brother's attempt to catch his eye. The board is looking forward to tomorrow's meeting. Your proposal for integrating Nova's AI systems is revolutionary. Thank you, James, I smiled. And please call me Sofia. Dad stepped forward, his business mask firmly in place. Now, Sofia, surely we can work something out. Keep this in the family. Oh, but Dad, I interrupted smoothly, isn't that exactly what I'm doing? Keeping it in the family? Just not the way you planned. My phone buzzed again, more news alerts. The markets were already reacting to the announcement. Anderson Industries stock was soaring on news of the merger. You should be thanking me, I continued. Your shares just increased in value by 40%. Though of course you'll be minority shareholders now. Mom had finally regained her composure, though her hands still trembled. But what about your brother? His position is secure, I finished. He can keep his job, though perhaps not as CEO. I turned to Michael. I'm thinking something more suited to your skills. How does regional sales manager sound? Michael's face turned purple. You can't demote me. I built half those client relationships. The same relationships that have been steadily declining for the past 2 years? I pulled up another document on my tablet. Your last 3 quarters showed significant losses in market share. The board's quite concerned. Speaking of the board, Morrison interjected, we should discuss tomorrow's announcement. The press is already requesting interviews. I nodded. Of course. We'll need to assure the market that the transition will be smooth. I paused looking at my family. And that Anderson Industries will remain a family business. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Dad cleared his throat. Sofia, all those times we dismissed you were exactly what I needed, I finished. You taught me the most valuable lesson in business. Let people underestimate you. Their arrogance becomes their weakness. I turned to address the gathered guests, who had been watching the drama unfold with barely concealed fascination. Please, continue celebrating my parents' anniversary. Though I suppose it's now also a celebration of new beginnings. I raised my glass. To family, and to business. As conversations reluctantly resumed around us, I gathered my things. I have calls to make before tomorrow's board meeting. Michael, you'll receive a briefing about your new position in the morning. Mom, Dad. I paused, looking at their shell-shocked faces. Thank you for the lovely party. And for teaching me that success is the best revenge. As I walked toward the exit, Morrison fell into step beside me. Masterfully done, Sofia. Though I have to ask, why let them announce the Thompson Tech acquisition today? I smiled, pushing open the heavy doors. Because sometimes, Morrison, you have to let people have their moment of glory, before you show them what real success looks like. The night air was cool on my face as I stepped outside. Behind me, I could hear the murmur of guests, the clink of glasses, and the sound of my family's carefully constructed hierarchy crumbling. My car, a subtle but powerful Tesla, pulled up. As the driver opened the door, I took one last look at the building where everything had just changed. Ms. Anderson, my assistant's voice came through my earpiece. Your 9 p.m. call with Tokyo is ready. Should I tell them you're on your way? Yes, I replied, settling into the back seat. And Sarah? Schedule a family dinner for next week. I think it's time we had a proper business discussion. As the car pulled away, I caught a glimpse of Michael watching from the window, his expression a mix of anger and dawning respect. He'd finally learned what I'd known all along. Never judge a business by its cover and never, ever underestimate the quiet one in the family.